I just think that in reality, you gotta have common sense along with book smart. You gotta have common sense. If you don't know not to put your hand on this damn stove because it's hot, that means you have no common sense. It's hot. You know you don't supposed to put your hand on it.
What we're seeing, what's going on is, unfortunately, you have a lot of fathers in prison, right? We were programmed early on, Mo, when the fathers couldn't be in the home, when our parents had to be on welfare. So we were programmed then. They was programming us then to take the man out the home, right? The head, the guy who's supposed to teach his son how to shave, tie his tie. Eye opener. This is for a conversation with our kids and grandkids. Because we if we took passing to our kids, they should be passing down to their kids. But they're watching us, so we act out here acting a fool. Guess what's gonna happen? Who they learning from? Where they getting information from?
You know what? This is exactly why the therapists or the counselors, my job becomes harder, because I deal with the men that are being taken, I'll say, addicted to something. Either to sex, they're addicted to sex, they're addicted to drugs, they have miscommunication, they're angry at their fathers for not being in the picture, they're angry at their mothers for what the mothers couldn't provide. And I'm speaking from a mother that came from a marriage. So I was married and the husband left.
About all black. I don't think it's for all cultures, but like dude said, man, women want the bad boy. They attracted to them. They're not attracted to the nerds or anything like that, because they made fun of them in high school. They had their own businesses, or they come up with new inventions, and then they probably think later on, I should have talked to him or something like that. But that's what they like, because they said in these rap videos, they said in the movie. So it's all.
Like, I don't feel like police being in the area is the answer because of the tension. There's already problems. Like, if I see you, the first thing in my mind is to run, hide. They gonna search me, gun me down, Trayvon. I don't think that that's the answer. But
okay, Molly Moho. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in as always. They got it a lot better than we had it growing up. We literally had to wait on daddy or mommy to hand us money or food stamps to go to the store. Now, and they can be all the way at work and say, "Mom, I'm hungry, I need more money." Cash out right to your car and you good. So it's different times. So. And we back. Welcome to another episode of the Tom Mo Show. Y'all already know who it is, your boy Marley Marl. We got some time to get up in here. D, where you at, D? I sent you the link. I got the Reverend back in here with me on this good Thursday. How you doing, Dr. Reverend Kenneth Clark, a.k.a. Mr. Uncut?
I am doing fine. Glad to be back here.
Man, it's good to have you back here on the show. Who we got in here so far? You in here, put something in the comments. Let us know you in here. Got my boy DJ Slicky Woo. What it do, man? Always good. Depend on Slicky Woo to make it through here. Who else we got here in the comments? It's going to be a good show today, Kenny, man. We got some things to talk about. And most times on Thursday, we talk about what they don't like us to talk about. So just understand, you might hear some things you might disagree with. Just do the research. That's all I say, Kenny. Do the research. We ain't got time for name calling or anything like that. We don't get into arguments. We just had grown debates. And people, I just like to know how people feel about certain things, because we are different, so we all gonna have different outlook on things. So I like to see what other people think some of the things that's going on out here in the world that we overlook sometimes. What's up? We got my boy Malik in here. What's up, Leak? Peace to the guys. Dr. P is in the house. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday at 1 o'clock. You and Miss J. Oh, yeah, we got a good crew today. Looking, waiting on a few more people who actually asked me to send them the link. Now that I send them the link, I don't see them in here yet. I ain't see them pop in. If y'all in here, put some in the comments so we can get this show on the road. But before we get there, how your day going so far, Kenny?
It's going pretty good. Going pretty good.
Yeah, we can start off light with him today. Your boy Kirk Franklin, he back in social media. Last time Kirk went viral, his son was saying all type of crazy things about him. And this one right here, it ain't nothing too crazy. He ain't getting into it with his kids or nothing. He just saying that we need to bring back the old names. I don't think that's the problem with today's society. But for some reason, he think it is. You know, it was crazy. He got a big following. People actually follow him, listen to him. So it's weird though. I'm gonna share what he said though, so we can give our opinion on it. We're gonna start off like with y'all right now.
My daughter just gave birth to my second grandchild, beautiful little girl named Levi. Levi's beautiful, but I told my daughter that I think to save the next generation, we need to go back. We need to go back to real names.
I'm gonna pause it for a second. He's saying to save the next generation, Kenny, we need to go back to real names. Like people out here got fake names. So you telling me Kenneth not a real name? That's what you telling me? I don't know. That might can be a real name. I'm just saying, like, what he mean by fake names, I think he don't like the new names. I wouldn't call it fake names, but the new names that people choose to name their kids today, he don't like it. But basically saying to save the next generation, to save them, we need to go back to real names. I'm gonna continue playing it for y'all.
The baby should have been named Betty, Phyllis, Geraldine, Ruby. See, we moved too far. You know what I'm saying? You know, we need some more Charlene's. You know, we've got to take it back if we're going to change the world. Bring back Johnny May, Jeanette, Deborah. God bless you. My daughter just gave birth to my second grandchild. Beautiful
Some of y'all
girl
just came in a little late. Levi. Back one more time.
Levi's beautiful, but I told my daughter that I think to save the next generation, we need to go back. We need to go back to real names. The baby should have been named Betty, Phyllis, Geraldine, Ruby. See, we moved too far. You know what I'm saying? You know, we need some more Charlene's. You know, we've got to take it back if we're going to change the world.
My bad, Kenny. I don't know if my mic went out. Yeah, my mic was still muted. I was
I was
yeah, hey, Kurt Franklin. Yeah, thanks for that, Dr. P. Said volume when I was looking like why he not saying that. But yeah, Kenny, what's your thoughts about this? You know, your boy Kurt Franklin basically saying to save the next generation, what we have to do is basically go back to real names. You know, Charlene and all these older names. You know, you might heard great grandma and grandma and them with your aunties and them. You think this can be a change? You know, you think this can help the next generation? I don't see it, but what's your thoughts?
I mean, I think what he's trying to say is like, some of these names like Nuki or Nene and all these names that don't really have I don't know, they kind of, for lack of better terminology, it ghetto names. You know what I'm saying? We had some we had some names. My goodness gracious, that you'd be like, okay, why would you name your child that? You know what I'm saying? And it's really no significance. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about whether or not if the name changing would actually change the generation, or maybe he might be talking about from a bullying standpoint. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you in school, certain individuals have certain names, and maybe they might be picked on because of their name, or how their name sounds, or how it's pronounced or whatnot. Maybe he's talking about it from that angle. So I guess I would say that I kind of sort of somewhat agree with him.
That's tough. That's why I say I like to hear from other people. I like to give people opinion. Like you said, you agree. I just be like reminding myself, like, where the names come from. People don't go that far back. Like, what's the old name that you think have meaning? As a matter of fact, I think Dr. Purpose put something in here. Say Levi means something though. Like Levi, whatever name you want to think of, whoever created that name, who gave meaning to it? Like, somebody had to give meaning to it. Like, most of the words that get added to the dictionary every year, it didn't exist at one point, but then once they made the word up, they gave meaning to it. So it's just like, why we can't say that the new names that they name their kids today have this, it means this, or it means that? Why we can't say that? Why did they have the leverage to say that this Bertha and all these old names had more meaning to it than the names that we have today? I don't know what, like, I don't get it. That's really what it comes to. I don't get it. I really think that it's more back to the programming. These biblical names, to be honest, a lot of people back in the day, they was naming their kids after biblical characters. Even the white people, so it's just like you got the Jacobs, Johns, Peters, them real names. Is they real names because they're in the Bible? What make a name a real name? That's my question to those who agree with him. What makes a name a real name, and what make a name a fake name? If my name Marley, like right here in the comments, people call me Marley, I'm a real person. I really answer when people call me that. So who is to say Kurt Franklin say I don't got a real name? If my name was Robert, I'd be more real. I just think that names wouldn't matter, at the end of the day. Martin Luther King name wasn't Martin, remember? His name was Michael. Why he changed it to Martin? Malcolm X's real name wasn't Malcolm X. Muhammad Ali, why they changing their names? Why they ain't just go to one of them biblical names? Like, it's because it's the programming. They feel like, oh, I'd be closer to my ancestors if I change my name to this. This name got more meaning. I see Muslim people do it all the time. They're like, well, this is my Muslim name. Like, you still the same person. You still do the same things that you've been doing. I don't really think a name really changed people, but I can be wrong. When you got the name Reverend added to your name, or Doctor to your name, did Kenneth change? You no longer the Kenneth that you was once before because they added a title to your name?
Right. I mean, even though Kenneth, it does means mighty handsome one. I'm just saying, names do have,
But who gave that
I have
meaning to it? Jamal mean handsome in Muslim, so it's just like, that's my name, but somebody had to say, this is what we're gonna say means for Jamal. It might was a Jamal and he was one of the handsomest dudes, or a Kenneth and he was a handsome dude back then. They say, shit, anybody named Ken, that gonna describe him. I don't get it. I really don't, Kenneth. I'm gonna see what they saying, some of them in the comments. I see Durn said that's dumb. Dr. P said Northwest. That was a crazy one right there. That Kanye don't care because names don't really matter. But at the end of the day, how many Northwesters you know? That is a unique name. She really probably the only one with that name until after. Like Jalen Rose, he was the first one. His mother named him Jalen. And everybody like that. But now how many Jalen's you know? Jalen Smith, Jalen Brown. He was literally like the first Jalen. You know, so it's just like, what do Jalen mean? I'm just trying to get y'all to think a little deeper, man, because names is just names. It's like it's like naming property for real. I don't like that. You know, it's like a car, a cat, a tree, and then you name it. You know, like you know how people get cars, but like that's my Betty right there. That's my white winter soldier right there. Like they just get a cars names overnight. They get a pet's name. We know it's a dog, but we'll say, you know, come here, Scrap, or what's the dog name on Friday? Everybody know the dog name on Friday. What was that damn Chico? You know, Chico, come here, Chico. You just naming a dog, you know. So that's why I think they added the last names, because these slave masters had names and they wanted to name their property, let people know that's my property. You know, so when they asked him what's your name, oh, he belonged to the Robinsons. You know, oh, he belonged to the Clocks. You know, that's how I look at it. Now people carry these names like they really mean something. That was name tags. That's how I look at it. What's your thoughts on that, Kenny?
I mean, you know, maybe in reference to what you said, you know, like, you know, because of, you know, colonization, you know, slavery and all that kind of stuff, you know, the significance of these names probably changed over time. You know what I'm saying? Due to you know, the pronunciation, or due to people feeling more of a connection, of divine connection spiritually, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? I like what Malik just said. You know, we have titles. You know what I'm saying? We have titles. Um, you know, yeah, I agree. I see somebody else said that religion creates division. So in essence, it, you know, it's one of those things that's real. Uh, I guess you would say analytical. You know, to look at from different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, you know, they had certain names and stuff that was used, you know, for slavery. You know what I'm saying? For slaves back then. You know, you know, this is also, you know, the importance of name also plays a part into the labeling theory. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's many ways that you can look at this from a bird's eye view perspective. You know, is it created for separation? Is it, are these names given because of classism? You know, are these names given because of a social class, an economic class? Is it, you know, I mean, it's different uh, constructs, if you may, to kind of get you to, you know, really start looking at this, you know, more, you know, more into it, you know.
Yeah, we getting a lot of comments here. We got our girl Reese Ree up in the house. Reese said, I'm here, Fanny. What up, Reese Ree? Great show this morning. Said, Horace is my grandfather. You told us the name. Horace, that's Jesus. You know, that's another name. Hey, fam, we got Nene in here. Malik said we all had titles. Dr. P said pronounceable. You know, that's the thing. You know, you got all these Shanaes and Sasha. They got all type of weird. I can't even pronounce it the way they pronounce it or whatnot. But
Day, you thinking that
the Naja
sounding like data, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, some girl name was like the Ninja or something, the Naya or something, the Naya, the Ninja, and some. It sounded racist when the girl wrote it down on the paper. She wrote it down there like nigga, but she was trying to pronounce it maybe. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I just be like, man, we spoken a whole nother tongue. Like most of them African names, we be like, what the hell your name is? Chinese people name, what the hell your name is? It might sound crazy to us, but that's their name. So it's just like these weird names, you know, let the kid be who he is or who she is. You know, I just be like names just for you can notify like who this person is from that person. You know, the if you wanted to talk to me or you, like they can't just say, hey, we both for look, but they say, Ma, hey Kenny, all right, now you know which one you're talking about. You know, so I just like I don't really think that naming people other names that they just basically put on their social. It's just gonna be another name. They're gonna be going through the same bullshit that we going through and doing the same things with just a different name. I think I'd be the same person if my name was Dave, or if my name was one of them old biblical names, Peter, Paul, Jacob, Joshua. Like, I wouldn't even get mad if somebody named their kid Jesus. But you got people out here, how would you ever do that? Like somebody named them Jesus. Or did God come down and say, I want y'all to name him Jesus? Nobody would think of that. Mary named him Jesus. Did she get the name from somewhere? Did she make it up? Who knows? At the end of the day, it was a name to separate him from everybody else. You knew who Jesus was. You call on to him. So it just, they switch it up all the time. I ain't really with the names though. You want anything you want to add?
You think about it though. As an English writing major, and I argued this in one of my dissertations. I said English is one of the most complicated, confusing language that there is, because when you think about like the sounds of the letters, right? You literally so I taught in the Head Start. So I taught kids, children, how to read, right? We tell them that PH is, that F sound, right?
Like
but if you take the P by itself, what are we saying? Huh. And we take the H by itself, what are we saying? Huh. So how is it that we say PH sounds like the letter F, right? And you when you say the letter F, it sounds just like you're saying the P and the H together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we, like who invented letters? Like who came up with, oh well, these are the vowels and these are the consonants, and we're going to name this the consonants, and these are going to be the A-E-I-O-U. Now, why is it that we only have, out of the whole 26 letters, that are we only going to choose 5 or sometimes Y being part of the vowel? Like who said, oh, these are going to be vowels, these are going to be consonants, these are going to be, and when you say these letters, it's only going to be 26 letters, and each of these 26 letters, it's going to sound like this, and it's going to sound like that. And when you know how they tell you, when you say the word president, make sure it's capitalized, in a sentence. When you say God shouldn't be small case. It should be, these are the things that you sit back and you like, does any of this like really, like who's the manufacturer behind this? Like who said, okay, this is what this like this is what this is gonna be, it's funny because like this is what this is
what you born into, man. And that's what I'm trying to get people past. It ain't that I don't want us to use language. We definitely need it. I just don't want us to really get to believing that a lot of these things is meant here for a reason. Like it was humans out here just like us, and they had to come up with some type of way to communicate. So they did. They found ways to communicate, but now they done made books, they done made movies, and a lot of people forget that language was created for communication, for us to speak to one another.
But even if you take it back historically, right? Before there was even letters, what were they using in Egyptian time? Pictures, hieroglyphics. They were drawn, and the pictures were the ones that were telling the stories, or telling, that form of communication. They didn't, the Native Americans, and they had ink, ink from, coming from plants. You know what I'm saying? This symbol means this, and things of such. Think about the direction of the sun. That I mean, they had different ways of communication before phonetics became part of the the way that we communicated. You know what I'm saying? Using pictures. They had real live pictures of different, it's how they were writing, horses, and diagonally, saying, but that's how they communicated, especially during slave times, because a lot of people didn't know how to read, and the only way they could read was these, finding these images and it's like, oh, okay.
I see that, and a lot of people believe that it's stories that say why we all speak different languages. Because at one point when we all spoke the same language, we try to build a ladder basically to the heavens. We try to build something to reach the heavens. So we was communicating too well. So God so-called split us up in different areas of the region or the world, and basically now we speak different tongues. So now we all can communicate and finally try to build that building again to the heavens, which never made sense to me, because it's just like, why would he want to stop that? And two, why would we want to do that? And three, it's just like, you just gotta understand, when people different and they migrate from different places, they gonna speak different languages. Because what y'all talking over here, they not gonna be talking over there. Your worries over here ain't they worries over there. It might be more hot over there. It probably never get cold over there. So they doing things a lot different. That's why our skin tone a lot different. A lot of these white people come from cold weather. So they was in caves and mountains and stuff, but now they out here with us. So they catching skin cancer. They gotta wear the little suntan and all that stuff they gotta do just to avoid the sun. It ain't that because they might be alien or nothing like that. It's because they was in the caves. The caves might would kept them safe. But now that we all out and we can see each other, we all think we not human. You human, they human. It's just like a black bear seeing a white bear. And like, what the hell is that? You ain't, it's still a bear. It just, you can tell. Go
But
ahead.
the problem with that is, we have more melanation in our body. So we are more spiritually, divinely connected. We're connected to nature more than ever. They don't have as much melanation in their skin the way that we do. So that's another. I just thought I might add that in there because that is another issue and why they're easily to get sunburn a lot quicker or to be able to get those conditions because their body can't take as much uh 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 you know um energy from the sun that as whereas we of the melanated community can take. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have that. They have a little bit of melanation in them, but they don't have as the predominant melanation that we do. You know,
Yeah.
you know, you
And
know.
still human though, and that's the thing. We all gonna have our strengths and weaknesses, and that's why I was talking about the brown bear and the white bear, because the brown bear live where it's hot, so he got brown skin. He's out there in the sun all the time, which is that would be us. The white bear, he's out there where it's cold. He got white fur, to keep him warm. He can actually go out there. He need to eat flesh. He got to eat penguins and stuff like that with blood and flesh to keep him good. The brown bear get to eat fruits and veggies and things like that. But what I'm getting to, they both still a bear. Like we both still human. The white people, yeah, they can't be in the sun as much as us, but we damn sure can't be in the cold as much as them. That's what people don't understand. Like, yeah, we ain't closer to nature. To nature, not just the plants and the trees, it's the hot, the cold, the warm, all of that. They closer to the cold climate and we closer to the warmer climate. That's all. But we still human. We just different. So some things they can eat that we shouldn't eat. And there's some things that we can eat that they shouldn't eat. But you can tell that they majority of them is running the world because they trick us into what? Eating meat all the time. They gotta eat meat. They trick us into wearing suntan. Fuck, we wearing suntan for? I done been to the beach plenty of time where black people ask me, "Hey, you got any suntan?" I'm like, "Man, you need suntan for?" So they done found ways to make us talk like them, dress like them, act like them, and actually live their lifestyle. And I just be wanting people to understand that, like you said, we spiritual and that they spiritual too, but they sticking more to what fits them, what's best for them. We need to get back to what's best for us, and that's is being closer to nature. Not no books. Ain't nothing wrong with the biblical book, but I'm saying we don't care about nature. We cutting down trees because we allowing them to do it. We think it's okay. Just to print money, like that don't make sense. Them trees is part of nature. They part of us. A lot of the plants and everything got the same melanin that we got in our blood. So we just overlook a lot of things and we do a lot of devilish things to the planet. And we overlook it because we let people that's in control to say it's okay. Animals don't have spirits. You know, these animals were sent here. God gave us these animals to kill, to cook, and to eat. We can sacrifice these animals. That's why God brought us here to do. They can talk us into a lot of things that I just found wicked. You know, and I could be wrong, Kenny. Let me see what some of these.
But you know, but being the the thing of it is, even when you look at it from a biblical standpoint, right? There's a close connection to uh the divine of nature, right? The messengers. How did the messengers locate where Jesus was born at? They used the stars, right? They followed they followed the path of the stars, right?
Mhm.
So you know, we need to tap in more into nature. As much as individuals, I'm saying this to my spiritual community, then I'll go on. But we need to tap more into nature, you know, we need to tap more. Althea said, no, they knew.
They knew how to read their own language.
I mean, yeah, that's
Um,
true. I mean, they knew how to read their own language, but they also created, that means of communication, and hieroglyphics was real because hieroglyphics was telling a story. I mean, because you couldn't, there was certain things you couldn't speak on a plantation field. You either had to relay, certain. Yeah, that's right, Darren. Yep, yep. That you know, you had to relay messages through means of messaging. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that left the plantation. I mean, of course, it was some people that talked, that spoke, that they communicated, say, hey, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. But there were times where they couldn't tell people what they were doing. Nat Turner didn't say, oh, master, I'm about to go here and I'm about to do A B C D E F G. No, they had to write. If it was scratching, if it was in the dirt, if it was in the sand, if it was, they communicated. You know what I'm saying? Harriet Tubman. I mean, they
I be going on and on about them. I don't think even that turn existed. You know, like half of these people they give us in history, they making up. Even them following the stars, yeah, that was real. But how did they know where to go? Well, how did they know where they was going? You gotta remember these stories. Like, do you remember the story? Where was they walking to? Who gave them the message to say the Son of God was about to be born? How did they get to them, and how did they navigate to where they was going by just following the star? Did they say Jesus gonna be born on that star? And how
No,
did they
I
know
think
that?
what it was, I think they came upon it by happenstance, by surprise. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of things. You get what I'm saying? When you really start tapping into uh vibrations and you start tapping into, to things, just like we're all sitting here now, we're taking the time to, dive into these, discussions, right? And to dive into this information, right? And the more that we dive into it, what are we doing? We becoming more with one, right? We're becoming one with the information that we're in discovery of, that we're studying, right? So then as you become one with the information, what is it that we're doing? We start to become, and we start recognizing that, hold up, we're going to our originality, we're going to our origin, again, as the powers that be, they ripped us from our culture, they ripped us from our spirituality to make us say, oh, that our culture and our spirituality, quote unquote, is demonic, or it's
Yeah,
Satanism. It's Satanism. The originality from our traditions, our customs, and fashions and whatnot. So these are just like I said, I really think that they probably didn't know what they were doing, right? But it just happened to be that they tapped into something like, whoa, okay, I'm like, oh, okay, this where Jesus said, oh, okay, what I'm saying? I don't really think they knew. You know what I'm saying? I don't, and some things that, this is why I challenge, my faith community, because it's like, again, you say it all the time. It's not that it's a wrong or right thing, but let's take the time to research. Let's take the time to to do our study. I mean, it does say, study to show thyself approved, right? So how you gonna be able to approve yourself if you're not taking the time to analyze, to meditate, or to reflect and say, to be able to tap in from the divine, to be able to ask, from the creator, to say, yeah, what does this mean? You know what I'm saying? What does this mean? What does this, what is this revelation, or what is this illumination? What is it that I'm to gather from this? Because in actuality, that is what we should be doing, even with the word of God. If we read Revelation, or we read in the book of John, or whatever book we're reading inside the Bible, right? We shouldn't just, oh, well, it says for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Okay, what does that mean? Creator, Yahweh, Yeshua, however you wanna pronounce them, Rapha, hey, what does this mean? What does this scripture mean? Can you give me divine understanding, divine insight, divine revelation, right? But in the faith community, they say no. Go to your pastor. Go to the minister, as if that they're the only ones that can give you the insight from the word, when the word clearly says you study to show yourself approved. You put that work in. You put that labor in. You put that time in to figure out, hey, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Because you may get a different interpretation than what I get. Somebody else may get a different interpretation than what I have. Either way, as long as they're tapping in, you're studying, you putting that work in, because that's not the word. The word say faith without works is dead. So you taking that time to do that study, to do that research, and tap and tap in. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to, you gotta be able to tap in. Because I tell people all this now. We read in the beginning of the word, God made the heavens, he made the earth, he made the sun. God made the sun, he made the moon, he made the stars, he made the galaxy, he made the oceans, he made the planets, he made all these things. Why were these things that he made, why would he not want us to adore them? Why he would not want us to say, wow, this is the sun. He created the heavens and the earth. He said, hey, but there was darkness. Hey, he spoke light. So again, I know I'm going in, but I'm just, I'm just saying, like.
I'm gonna let you go, because there's a lot of people out here that need to hear this. It gotta make sense. Like a lot of people easily can be told a story and they believe it. Like you just told us, like God created all these things, which I believe it was a creator. It don't matter what name you want to give him, but I really don't believe that he personally came down and told people the rules of the world. I look at it, when you wanted to drive, you had to read a driving book. You had to learn the rules. And when you get out on the road, you better follow them rules, or it's considered a penalty, a ticket, a fine, a sin, whatever you want to give it. So Bible ain't nothing but a rule book. They teaching you the rules if you want to be out here with your vehicle, your vessel, your body. You want to be out here roaming the earth where we at, these the rules you got to follow. And if you don't follow these rules, you'll go to hell. Oh, you don't know what hell is? Oh, describe hell for them. It's burning and say they naming things that they shouldn't even know. So it's just like they putting fear in people to follow their rules. Because if nobody knew about a devil or this and that, they probably be doing all types of things out here. So it's just like I get why they do it. They keep certain people in place to put fear in people to not to be out here doing all type of crazy things. Because if you don't care about punishment on earth, we're gonna at least put the fear in your heart, punishment after earth, after life. But I look at it, when they was following the stars at the end of the day, a lot of people don't do research. That's how they found out how the earth worked, how the sun moved and things. They studied the sun. So when they followed the sun, they kept following the sun. And when they found out that the sun dies, that's why everybody like, how Jesus' birthday in December when they say he was born around springtime? It ain't got nothing to do with it. You know, it's all about programming. At the end of the day, when your kids a certain age, they believe in Santa. I see Durham put something in there about your kids go from Santa, then you feed them religion. Yeah, that's what they got to. Because once they outgrow Santa, they need a bigger Santa. That's why they share the same birthday on the 25th. The kids celebrating their Santa and the adults celebrating their Santa. And they don't get it. The winter solstice is when the sun dies for a day and come back. That means that's the lowest and lowest the farthest the sun ever can go out. And it dies out and it comes back. It goes so far from the earth, it gets dark. And then it comes back and they talk about it. You know, so a lot of people don't look into it. Even when he said, let it be light. At first it was what, Kenny? It was all darkness, right? Darkness. When you're in your mother's womb, it's all darkness. And right now we say for 9 months, but back then time is fake. You can give as much time you want. They can say it's 10,000 days in a year and count each hour as a day. It don't matter. However they did it back in them days, they just let you know for all of us, it's always darkness. And then when we born into this world, that comes the light. You know, so it's a lot of metaphors that's in the book and we overlook because they start creating characters. And when they start creating these characters, we don't even look and they be like, the Bible was written thousands of years ago. These stories was passed on down. And then when you started question things like, okay, then how the letter J was only around for 500 years. Where Joshua come from? Where the name Jacob come from? Oh, well, you know, they be switching names and they this and this. Like, man, just like they switch names, it's a book. That's what you're supposed to do. I shit on here plenty of movies that they came out with, Dr. Dolittle. This movie was written like in the 50s or something. It was a whole movie. Then they remade it with Eddie Murphy. It's still Dr. Dolittle. You had people, well, this ain't the original one. The original one was better. You know, they remake Friday. You know how many of us would be like, oh, they done remade Friday. They ain't like it. The Friday we grew up on, they did Space Jam. They do it. So it ain't that they took things out the Bible. They rewrote it to fit our time. Them old days don't fit our time. That's why they got the Old Testament and the what? The New. Because they know the old wasn't going to work for the new that was coming. You know, so there's a lot of things. I just like that Christianity, all religion helps people in a way, but at the same time, it hurt them mentally because they never find self. I really feel like that because when I was in church, I couldn't find myself. I had questions. I always had questions. But the minute I left church and I found out what my true nature was, you know, when I feel like, oh, all this was constructed to get us to do a certain thing, when you start to see the money, you just got to step back and look at church for what it is. Because when you in it, you can't see it. That's like you're in a crowd full of people. You don't know what's going on the outskirts, but if you go up high and look down, you can see everything. And that's what it is. People in church, they can't see because they stuck inside. The minute I got out of church, I started to see church for what it is. It's a business. And that's all it's about. These preachers, and they go around church to church. Why is I'm paying a pastor to come talk at my church? It's no different than me booking Rick Ross, a club booking Chris Brown. They booking other pastors to come to their church, and they book them pastors to come to their church. It's all about money. These pastors out here living life better than all us that's in the churches. Your pastor riding around in the Benz, Maybach, he living in a mansion. Oh yeah, God needed him to have those things. That's what they want y'all to think. We all deserve them things. We all shouldn't have to spend money to build a house. It don't make sense. We all shouldn't have to spend money to eat food, to grow food, to do the things that we do, but they got us caught up in the system and they got us going to church, praising things. And that's just a distraction to forget that we slaves. They're not letting us know that, oh, dog, we slaves. Nah, dog, I was born to do this. What, you was born to hoop because you LeBron James? If LeBron James couldn't play basketball, what the fuck else would we like him for? Nothing. If Michael Jackson couldn't fucking dance and sing, what else would we like him for? Everybody get loved and praised for the one thing they good at. But what about everything else that come with life? You can't actually survive in the world by being a hip-hop artist or athlete. You got to know how to grow food. You got to know how to hunt if you decide to eat meat. You got to know how to fish if you decide to eat fish. You got to know how to do these things. But they say, nah, let us do it. If you allow somebody to feed you, they can kill you. And that's what they've been doing, but they've been doing it slowly. Ain't no telling Kenny we supposed to live 300 years. But we put so much food, drug, poison in us we live until we 80, 90, maybe 100. But then you read all these old books, you like, damn, this nigga was how old? That's because they didn't eat the things that we ate. They was walking a lot of places. They ain't had the cars that we got. They making everything to make us lazy, even to remote controls. Remember, you had to get up and change the TV. Now you can just press a button. Maybe you had to actually go out and get food, but now you can just order Uber Eats. So everybody think it's helping us, but at the same time it's hurting us, Kenny. And I can be wrong, y'all. This is how I feel, though. I'm going to see what they saying in the comments. Dr. P say, awesome word, Kenny. Yeah, old is ancient times, new modern times. The truth only has one vision. I agree with that. Old pimps from the 60s, what? Around the pastor. A lot of the pastors old pimps from the 60s. They showed on the damn show. If y'all watch BMF, Snoop Dogg is in that thing looking like a cold pimp. He done whipped out a gun on somebody in church during the service on the last show. So it is, man. I just think it's a cleanup spot, man. I think a lot of the drug dealers that's moving heavy, they moving their shit through the churches and funeral homes. That's what I do if I was out there. I'm just saying.
But thank God you have individuals like myself who are unorthodox, who eat peanut butter and jelly, who eat ramen noodles. I don't have a Benz. I have a Smart Trip card that I go from everywhere else, and I'm just as tangible like everybody else. You don't see me bombarded with more security guards than the freaking uh, president. I don't have gold chains. I'm, thank God you got some. You got some, because you sure are right. The body has made a misrepresentation of the things that they do. You see more materialism than you see God Himself. Everybody think they above or beneath. Nobody want to really get in the trenches and get amongst the people because I'm doctor. I'm this, and I hear it all the time. I'm an apostle. I'm not about to go out and evangelize. That's not my thing. That's not my cup of tea. Okay, well, you're supposed to be a person that's after God, so you should be out here amongst the people. Pray. Um, yeah, so thank God you got a few. You got a few out here that's not with the nonsense. I call it out all the time. Everybody knows it. Um, you know, we gotta do better though. You know what I'm saying? And those of us that have these kind of conversations have gotta stop assimilating. I think I did see a couple of comments that said something about assimilation. When you know this stuff is wrong and you see things that are not right, we gotta stop assimilating to it. We gotta stop subjecting ourselves and going for the okey doke. You know what I'm saying? How folks out here, they robbing Peter to pay Paul. You out here, the man of God got more look like a celebrity than actually doing the work. Man, y'all should have been left. Y'all should have been in kick rocks.
Thank God, low.
Once you know better, you're supposed to do better.
Yeah, but another thing used to bother me in church when I was younger, when they used to say God is a man, or how you know God ain't a woman. I used to always ask them, like, because we all born from a woman. We all come from a woman. And I read the story, that's some magical shit to me. I already know, like, he grabbed from the ribs of a man and all that. I ain't trying to hear that. I'm just trying to see what makes sense. So I always be like, okay, even the creator, they be like, God is a man or a woman. I was like, the dude that created the car, is he a damn car? The person that created a lamp, is he a lamp? Like, why would they think the person created human is a human or anything like us? Everybody or anything that I know that created something ain't nothing like us. Even if it's a robot, they might got arms and face like us, but it's not actually human. So God is not actually human. He might just be spirit. He might not be a body at all or a shell at all. And that make more sense to me because I look at anything today, even the creatures that they make in a lab, like pigs not real. But at the end of the day, a pig is a pig. You know, it's just like whoever created this pig, he's not a pig. Nobody create. Only person that create what it is, it got to come out of them. Like a horse give birth to a horse. A human give birth to a human. You know, like I just don't see somebody creating something and creating them. You know, some a version of them. You know, if that's the case, just give birth to something. You know, that just always dawned on me though. You know, but if you take a magical story and say this how it happened, and I can't argue against it because somebody said this is the word of God, even though they ain't speak to this God, even though this book was written 600 after the so-called death of Jesus, I can't argue against that. You know, it's like I don't even want to argue with it. I just be want to ask people, does that make sense to you? Like, does it make sense that for God to create man, he ain't had to take a rib or nothing from nobody. He just somehow created man like that from dirt. He couldn't create woman from dirt. And then his books out here about Lava. I don't know, you know about her, or when Adam's first wife, or when that she was created from dirt just like Adam, which will make more sense. But all this pulling them from the ribs and walking on water, snakes into stab, I think is metaphors that we just don't understand. And a few of them I got to code out, like I got to understood it when Moses stood on the land of Peniel and when he spoke to God. I'm like, why was he so special to speak to God? But then you started researching, understand what do pineal mean and about your pineal gland. And when you open up, you're supposed to be closer to God. When you actually clean from all the poison and stuff, you're supposed to be able to open up your pineal gland and be able to speak to God. And that was them telling us that Moses was so pure, his body was so clean, he was able to speak to God. But they won't tell you about your pineal gland. They just say he was on the land of pineal. Like, no, he actually reached his top chakra, his crown chakra, and he was able to speak to God. But a lot of them won't teach us about our crown chakra. They won't let us know what it takes to live like Jesus. They just say Jesus never sinned. Even if he was a person or not, the character that they talking about, he actually lived a pure life. Like he actually reached this crown chakra. And there's a lot of things we got to do. Like you can't be thinking sexual all the time. That means you at a lower chakra. You can't be thinking about partying, clubbing all the time. It's things you got to work on, your heart chakra. You got to care more about people. And these are things that Jesus working on till he got to a point that he was able to speak to God. Moses, all these people, they was able to speak to God because they reached their crown chakra. Them the messages that I feel like I encoded from reading the Bible. Now that I went back and read it, not from a child when they told me this mean this and this what they mean by that. This is the book of Peter. I want to write a book of Marley, the book of Kenneth. Let's tell our stories how God of the universe helped us through hard times and how when you believe, and you can write it in ways that they can be characters just like Moses and them. I just be looking like as long as we read and adapt to these stories, our stories will never be told. I don't know whose stories these really are, but I know the real people out here, they won't tell us about the real history that goes on. They still lying about Black history. They still hiding some of the people that was out here during the civil rights, helping people out. If they lie about that, why would they tell us the truth about where we come from or who our God is? How would they even know who our God is? They not from where we from. They gave us their God. That's why the KKK shared everything that Christians shared. They believe in Jesus and read the same books as the Christians do. That's why they burn the cross and everything. They do everything that the Christians do, and they do it out of the Holy Bible. This from the Word of God. They doing it because they believe the book tell them it's okay for them to do. So I just be gone, Kenny. That's why I told you Thursday be lit.
I gotta say this because I'll be the one to say it. The KKK does not represent the Christ followers. And I said this a few weeks ago. We're so quick to call out sin. Y'all remember what I said sin was? Sin was self-inflicted nonsense, right? We call out, alternative lifestyles. We call out homosexuality and things and such, but we won't touch racism. We won't touch bigotry. We'll touch every other sin. We'll condemn somebody for going to a Beyonce concert. We'll do all these notorious things, but when it comes to racism, when it comes to white supremacy, when it comes to the KKK, when it comes to this, conservative Christianity that we know good and well, that's bigoted and racist, we quiet as a mouse. But the moment that Beyonce got a concert going on, or the moment that You know, we will quick to call out fornication and adultery and sage burning. We'll call out, oh, that's demonic.
Mm-hmm.
But we won't call out racism. We won't call out somebody making a mockery of the Bible. You know, we got to do better, y'all. Can't just be selective. You know, racism is a straight up abomination before the word of God. I don't care how y'all look at it. Y'all get mad, glad, sad, or whatnot. Jesus was not white. Yeshua was not white. It says it in the book. It tells you how his descent. But but we don't want to have these conversations. But if it's Beyonce, we own it. And we condemning, you going to hell. And I pray that you go to the concert and not only that, the people at the concert and but shout out to Mace, because I saw what Mace did a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, I seen what the brother did. Brother had an altar call. Hello, wasn't talked about. Hello. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's get real. If we gonna call one thing out, let's call all of it out. Let's bring the whole book from A to Z. Let's not be situational people. Let's not be a situational people where, oh, we call out Satanism. And by the way, everything ain't satanic and everything ain't demonic. We put Satan on trial for stuff that we make personal choice and have personal decisions that we make about. Everything ain't demonic. Just because it's culture, just because it's a custom or it's a tradition or it's unorthodox or it's not traditional, don't mean it's demonic. I just got to be the one to say that, y'all, because y'all was quiet. Rapper Mace had an altar call at the church. Go to my man Be Heard, Pastor Be Heard, and like he said, the church was quiet, but y'all was condemning Beyonce, but it was getting no publicity. That was going on. Brother had an altar call. Hello, Mace. Mace. Yeah. Are we still telling people going to a secular concert, they going to hell? Not after what I saw. I'm telling all y'all Christians, go to a concert. Have fun. It don't mean that just because God gave us life and life more abundantly, y'all. Don't sit here and allow, you have got to use discretion from within yourself. Don't let somebody else's interpretation of what they deem as their personal conviction. I said this a few weeks before. Don't let personal conviction be deemed as somebody's biblical truth. Just because you don't go to a movie, just because you don't go to a concert, don't mean that it's wrong for somebody else to go to a concert. Because if that's what God's telling you to do, then you do what God tell you to do. Because God give each of us what? Free will. I just went off on a tangent right there.
That's the thing. It makes sense, and at the same time, if free will exists, what's all these instructions for? Like a lot of them people you talking about, they try to live the word. So if they see their friends doing things that the word telling them that they don't supposed to do, they gonna tell them. You see Muslims do it all the time, bro. We can't eat pork because the word said, God said we can't do these things. So you can feel good and all that, but when you part of these organizations, what I call courts, then that's what it is. You can't be mad at your brother if he telling you we don't condone this in the Christian faith. You can't be doing this. Well, the God telling me I can go see Beyonce. It ain't matter what God telling you, because the word, you got to follow these rules. It's rules that you got to follow.
But let me give you be very specific here, right? We've got to understand the context. We got to understand the culture, the climate of when the word was written. Because I'm telling you now, I'm not going out here taking no goat in offering it up as no sacrifice. I ain't burning that, right? So we got to understand when the word of God was written. See, here's the problem. We don't ask for illumination. What is illumination? Understanding, insight. You get what I'm saying? You know, we don't add, we just read the word for face value. We're not understanding the context of the Old Testament.
Good to eat. Everything under the sun, good, made to eat.
Yeah. Genesis 1, what is it? Genesis.
Like, who will write that? Like, it's shit out here that will give you cancer. It's mushrooms out here that if you even touch it, you would die. Like, you got to know which mushrooms to pick. So I'm saying, even if that's in scripture, do that make sense to y'all? Anything under the sun you can eat. Like, does it make sense to you? I just want to know, like, is it more like interpreted to it? Like, what do that mean?
But the thing of it is it just really boils down to this. You know, you gotta use, you gotta use, and just follow the leading of God.
See,
that's what everything, because
that's confusing though, Kenny. You know, because it's like, if like right here she said, but man did this, meaning that man made certain foods that you can't eat, like mushrooms. No, he didn't. It's poison mushrooms out here. 2, man wrote the book, so you can't say man did this, so we can't. But man wrote the book. Literally, man wrote the book. Unless y'all telling me God literally wrote the book, then it ain't nothing to talk about. If you really believe that God wrote the book and that man, even though this got a published date, it got an author on all of them. Somebody got paid for this. It's the most selling book in the world, made more money than any book will ever make. But somehow these the words of God. Which one is it? Because some people say the word was changed, this was changed. That means man did that, or did God did it? So it's a lot of confusion with it when it's just like it's programming people that I just think the program is really set up. No matter what you say, people will find something in the scripture that says, well, in Genesis, well, in Revelation, this man written. Like, it's like what makes sense to you, the person. Not don't use scripture because that's somebody else's words that's making it okay to do the things that you do. You know, they saying that God said it's okay to do this and God said okay. But as a human being outside of that book, how does that sound? Like, do any of that make sense? Or do we find a man again?
But you gotta have outside of what's written, right? You've gotta have a relationship with God.
Okay.
In my view, it doesn't matter what's written.
Yeah.
Because if you can sit there and have a, like they told me in film school, right? They told me in film school, it does you no good that you can produce a script. Can you act? Do you have the understand? Do you understand the industry? Do you have a full awareness? So at the end of the day, the word of God is the word of God. But do you have a relationship with God? What is God telling you? Because I tell people that all the time. What is God telling you? Specific. I don't want to hear, well, my pastor said so-and-so. My bishop said so-and-so. What is God telling you? You don't have a relationship with God? So you mean to tell me you can't hear from God? The only time you can hear from God is if you go to the man of God? No, you're supposed to have a relationship with God yourself. What is God? You praying? Are you praying? Are you fasting? Are you, what is outside? I hear what you're saying. Oh, the Quran say this and this say, and Buddha says this, and okay. What do you have? Do you have a divine connection? I don't care what it is that you say. This is what I say all the time to the community. What is you need the 3 fibers. The 3 fibers. You have something that you believe in, something you follow. I don't know what it is. Some people may say they follow the tree. Some people follow the moon, or they follow the star. What? you have something that makes you you. Okay, what do you follow? Which taps into that spiritual fiber. What do you believe? You believe in Buddha, Allah, or what? Christos. Hey, what do you believe? What is your makeup besides that? Like, how do you tap in? Do you have a greater one on the inside of you? Your physical fiber. What are you putting in your mind, your eyesight, your ears? What are you taking? What are you eating? What are these are this the real these are the real position that we really need to have. Because you give, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
You've heard me speak before. Every word ain't gonna be Exodus this, Deuteronomy this, and Revelation that, right? Because you can have a word all day. What is your relationship outside of the word? What is your relationship? Do you have a relationship?
And that's the thing. I see you in here, Nene. I'm with you. Say religion was made to confuse the people. Slavery mentally will always keep our people in ignorance. Wake up. Dr. P said, man told y'all it was cold and get a shot. And me, not spiritual, at all. I told people that was a lie. So I ain't had to go to church. I ain't had to be biblical. I ain't had to be a Muslim and none of that to know that. But they used the church people to actually push this. They used the TD Jakes of the world, the Kirk Franklin, all of them. They were saying that God sent these doctors here to save them. God put this COVID thing out here, and at the same time, He gonna give us a cure. So they use religion all the time. At the end of the day, they make you feel like, oh, we at the end of the days because in the book it says this, in the book it says that. I'm just like, why animals don't need a religion? Why animals somehow can strive through life? They know how to hunt. They know what to eat, what not to eat. They know how to do all these things without a religion. And we supposed to be the smartest creation that God ever made, but somehow we don't. We need a book that actually guide us through life. We need to hear other people's stories, what they went through in life, just to get through it in our life. We got to hear what other people's mistakes was. I'm pretty sure that if Jesus did this, He ain't just helped the few people they talk about in the book. What about everybody else? Why they handpick the certain people that they want to talk about? Y'all got to start understanding that man made everything that y'all talk about today. They made all of the religions. And when they got into a competing or competitive with somebody, they just made another religion. Like, okay, your people going to follow that religion, but my people going to follow this one. And they just kept doing it. It's over 4,800 religions out here. And I keep telling y'all, Christianity is one of the youngest. Meaning that they religion came way after, and there's people that got early religion that y'all be like, well, you need Jesus wasn't even a Christian. He was Jewish. So it's just like, how is it even Christians? The KKK have a Christian cult. It's a Christian organization. You can still look it up to this day. They are a Christian organization that just started to get hate crime. Before that, it wasn't even a hate crime what they was doing out here. They was lynching and killing people. I don't care what book they reading from. That is not the godly way. And there's no way we should be sharing a religion with them people. I don't care if they just say it's racist.
You are absolutely right that Jesus never called himself a Christian. He asked, I'm gonna do a little bit teaching here. He asked in the scripture, he asked personally, he said, who do you say that I am? I know Dr. Purpose is on here, she'll hear this. He said, who do you say that I am? And a lot of them had different divine revelation about who they said that he was. They said, oh, who do you say that I am? They said, you the son of the living God. They say, you the rabbi, you the holy one, right? And then what did he turn around and say? Oh, he said, flesh and blood did not reveal that to you, but through the power of the living God. You know what I'm saying? So, and I argue that, you know what I'm saying?
Where you get that information from?
It's in the text.
That's what I'm saying. It's in the text. If I text you, it's in the text. It's man, right? Like them, not the words of God. You know, and it just bothered me that people use that and take that like this what God said. Like God didn't say that. Man wrote that God said that, but that don't make it true. You know, like what facts do we got? You know, but that's the thing about scripture. People use scripture to make a point when the scripture not fact. You know, that's is okay. That's just called believers. That's why I like that they even kept that word, like I'm a believer. You believe whoever wrote that, it came from God. You believe that, but being a believer and a truth teller is two different things. Knowing and believing is two different things. You know, that's why I think the confusion come with. And I don't mind people believing that God said that, but I can't say that he said that. You know, like the same people who gave us this religion, they hate us. They hate us. People don't understand that they argue and they bitch about how they treating us. We go to church with these people. We share the same religion with these people. How's that part? We share the same roads with these people, the same cities. We vote and everything with the same people that we say hate us. So I don't know, y'all. We're going to get back on this next Thursday because we already over an hour. Dr. Reverend, man, he always come through with some half fat. And, man, let us know what y'all believe in, you know, because this still is, for me, is a belief, you know, the things that I believe in, you know. So I respect everybody's belief because we don't, nobody really know. You know, until God come down here and speak to me himself, I can't speak for God. And I just feel like nobody else can. Can you want to leave with anything before we go?
Just take the time to have a relationship with whomever you believe in. That's the bottom line at the end of the day, right? This thing is a faith walk, right? This is a faith walk. Even what we believe, it's a faith walk. You know what I'm saying? It's a faith walk. Study, tap in. We all have something we believe in, and so at the end of the day, you know, how do you treat people? You know, that's what it really boiled down to. The end of the day, how do you treat people? Is you snobbish? You say you believe in this and you believe in that, and blah 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 blah. But how do you treat people at the end of the day? How you treat people? You know. You ain't got to quote a whole bunch of scripture or I'm this, I'm that. How do you treat people? What are you doing to make a change? That's what I'm gonna close out. What are you doing to make a change? Are you coming together as a community? Who have you paid it forward today? Make this your mission as we transition into the weekend. Who are you going to put a smile on? How are you going to make an impact? That's the question. How are you going to make an impact? Make an impact by putting a smile on somebody's face. Pay it forward. Let's come together as the community in this thing that we call the human race, and let's make change. Remember, we all we got, we all we need. Each one reach one, each one help one. And it's your boy, Doc, aka Mr. Uncut himself.
Appreciate you for coming on, brother. We miss you, Big D. Appreciate everybody for coming in here with their comments. Like I tell everybody, this is a safe place, man. We all in here, we believers. It's just that we got different beliefs, and I just don't want to share a religion with certain people that don't share the same interests as me. And that'd be shocking that some of the stories that they tell, it get the people, you know, believe it, you know, and it's shocking, but it makes sense. You know, once you tell a lie for so long, it becomes true. Once you tell a story so long, it becomes true. And after a while, when they come back around, they're always going to change. You know, so I just be trying to encourage people to understand that it's a lot of messages in a lot of these books, but we can't really take it as fact. You know, that's just my opinion. Like I always say, I just look at the other animals and living things on here that we say God created. They don't need no book. They don't need no scripture. They don't need to hear about Paul, Jacob, or nobody. They just know exactly what to do. And I feel like we do too, you know, but we somehow let people trick us into controlling us to move in a certain way. I think that's the whole point of being here on earth. We don't supposed to know. You know, if it was that easy and we had a guide, then it won't make sense. Life's supposed to be a mystery, man. We don't supposed to know when you're going to die. None of us know when we're going to go. We don't know about tomorrow just yet. Anything can happen. That's how life supposed to be. So I just don't like the fact that we hear old people's stories and they tell us you should live this way when we don't know what's gonna come tomorrow. You know, so just tap in with nature, get closer with self, get closer with spirit. Because I done met a lot of people in the Christian Muslim world. I even met some Satanists. And the first thing I asked them, why you believe? And they say, because I went through something. I know for sure my God exists because I almost died, or I was in a car accident and then he saved me and this and that. And it's weird because all of them believe in something different, but had something similar story. They God or whoever they believe in saved them at a time when they need them. Even the Satanists, they believe the devil saved them at a time when they need them. Even the person who don't believe in anything believe that God saved them at a time when he really need them. So a lot of people use that a lot, like, oh, you know, I was going through hard times and I started praying to whatever God they believe in, things change. No, you start believing in you. You start believing in you. You is God. That's my belief. You is God. The minute you start talking to yourself and start believing in yourself, you're going to get all the help you need from the universe. But the minute you start tapping in these Bibles and think you got to live the way of Jacob and John and all these people that we don't even live in those days no more. We got cars and we got flying planes. We got all type of things. And we get tempted every day by just going on Instagram. You know, so it's a whole different world today, man. But I ain't going to hold y'all too long. Y'all know the slogan. If ain't nobody tell you they love you today, just know me and the Reverend do. From this time to the next time, peace. We up out of here. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Good to have you back on here, Kenny, man. We gonna talk, man.
That's a bet. That's a bet.
Who want to get in on the next conversation with us on a Thursday? And Kenny, come get your sea moss before I sell it. I'm gonna sell all your sea moss with the oranges in it. You better come get your sea moss. But we out of here, Kenny. I see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock with Dr. P. Janice and my man Tom Mo. We out.